We are ready to start. So, again, welcome. What is our agenda for today? So, I already made the introduction. Then our colleague coordinator Esther will give you short project overview. What is the project purpose? What we want to achieve, and most importantly, what is the expected impact? Then I will go into innovation procurement fundamentals and instruments in practice. Maybe some of you already heard this and know about the basics to the innovation procurement, but we believe it's very important to again repeat the basics, so it is really the base for our future webinars and the work. Then I'm very happy that my previous colleague Jorge Garzon from OECD could join today, and he will share some examples of innovation procurement, but also some procurement issues from other sectors and then the OECD. Then we will continue with the training manual presentations together with Peggy from Exfel. We will discuss what are the training manuals that we develop within the INPROCAP project. We will go with the modules overview, so the modules that we prepared for you in upcoming 2025 end of the 25 and 2026. We will present a very exciting opportunity to get the certification after you complete our program on innovation procurement. And of course, in the end, we will have a place to ask the questions. The best way how to ask the question is write them in the chat so we can go through them in the end and we don't forget anything. So short introduction, and now I give a space to Esther.
Yeah, so hi everybody, nice to see so many. We are 66 people in this webinar now. My name is Esther Davidsen. I work for the Danish Technological Institute in the Big Science department, and we are a lead partner for this project. Next slide, please. So the whole idea behind this project is to look at how we can use innovative procurement in the big science sector. So we have made an analysis and discovered it's something that is not very used, and as we all want to create more innovation and collaborate more with companies, this could be a way to engage in a better way. So we have looked at the value chain, and we have this project is all about how the national liaison officers, the ILOs, and also the procurement office inside the BSOs can learn how to, or can examine how innovative procurement can be a tool for them. So we've got these three main stakeholders. So you can see the innovative companies, you can see the ILOs, and you can see the BSOs. So next slide, please. So these are 7 partners. So we've got Exfel and IceCat as BSOs, very involved with their procurement thinking and the procurement people. We've got Pedal, whom Josef represents, and Lucia, who work on, they come from outside our sector and they're bringing in innovative procurement expertise from other sectors into our sector. And then to the right, you've got big science organizations from Denmark on the top, from Poland to the right, from Spain at the bottom, and from Holland to the left. And we have shared Europe between us, so we are running events and engaging companies in our geographical areas. We've conducted an analysis, and many of you have been involved with that, on the needs or the possible needs or the domains where big science organizations could have an interest in carrying out innovative procurement procedures where it could make sense. And then we have started publishing or presenting these domains to industries in our geographical, to companies in our geographical sectors. And next one, please. And yeah, many of you have been involved also in that. Next, yeah. So this is really the project flow over the 3 years. We will be involving, so at the beginning, a number of companies, and we've also identified startup or scale-up groups that make sense for us. And then we will be initiating 10 small consortia at least, who will be working on innovative procurement or looking at how they could co-design a solution for a challenge that expressed by one of the BSOs. So in the middle there, you've got an objective of a number of you participating in the training activities. We've got 67 today, but we've also got a lot of training sessions planned. And then also we will be looking at how innovative procurement makes sense in BSOs, and how you will integrate this system in the way you work. And then at the end of the project, you will all have instruction manuals aimed at BSOs and ILOs, and then we'll have a number of you from BSOs, a number of ILOs, who will really know how to carry out innovative procurement. So this is all free training aimed at all the ILOs and aimed at all the BSO procurement departments, free training for your staff. And now I'll give the floor back to you, Joseph, to present exactly what this training will contain and how we've built it up.
Thank you, Esther, and thank you for your work and coordination. So I will start shortly with what is innovation procurement, because I think it's very important to start it from the beginning. There are different definition of what does it mean, innovation procurement. It will vary depending on the sector, but also depending also how some DGs from the European Commission sees innovation procurement. So let's start with the basic definition. So what do we mean by innovation procurement? The European Commission offers following definition. Innovation procurement refers to any of procurement that has one or both of the following aspects. So it's buying the process of innovation, research and development services with partial outcomes, or the buying the outcomes of innovation. This definition comes from the guidance on innovation procurement that we also used as our source of information, that we will include in our training modules that will come. Those of you who are working in public procurement, you are very well, you know the Directive 2014-24 EU on public procurement, and there we have again another definition. So, according to European Directive on Public Procurement, innovation means the implementation of a new or significantly improved product, services, or processes, including but not limited to the production, building, or construction processes, very important for the big science facilities, a new marketing method or new organizational method in business practices. We will talk about changing the organizational things when it comes to the public procurement later on, but also then the workplace organization or external relationship inter alia with the purpose of helping to solve societal challenges or to support the Europe 2020 strategy for smart, sustainable and inclusive growth. Me personally, having the legal background and economics slightly, I think I prefer this one the most. So within the public procurement context, the word innovation procurement can have different meanings, including the purchase of innovation, so buying the cutting edge technology in public procurement markets. Second meaning of innovation in procurement is encouraging innovative suppliers in the procurement process. This is very important for us within the project, but in overall in public procurement, I believe we have to encourage innovative suppliers because without those, there would be no innovation, I believe. And the third meaning is innovation in the procurement process itself. So what we talked about before, some organizational changes to the way how we do the normal procurements. And these can be new methods and approaches for the procurement process. Uh, and we combine, we use the third and also the definition of European Commission to structure our training modules. Obviously, not only that, because we do the analysis and surveys and interviews that some of you take part in. And we divided all those instruments of innovation procurement, as we call it, into several sections. So, what would be examples of, for example, the first part of the definition, the purchase of innovation? That is the pre-commercial procurement, very important thing, how we actually can support the R&D and using the demand-driven approach. And then subsequent public procurement of innovative solution. Um, Innovation partnership is also one example of the procedure that can be used for procuring R&D. And we have a specialized module later on also for the innovation partnership. And I think it's very important also for the BSO sector. Then encouraging innovative suppliers in the procurement process. For example, one way how we can encourage the suppliers to take part is the preliminary market consultation. Sometimes we have definition of open market consultation. Some of the public buyers in some of the European countries that I know have the practice of meeting the buyer. So we will talk about that also. There are also new methods and approaches for the procurement process. So really the changing the way how we do the usual procurement procedures. And that can be functional specifications or value engineering. Uh, and we included the fourth group, and that's the public procurement procedures that can promote innovations. And that's a competitive dialogue and competitive procedure with negotiation. So now it's your time to take part in our webinar. We would like to have all the webinars interactive, and this is one way how we are going to do that. So maybe some of you, you know the Mentimeter. It's basically the way how you can communicate with us during this webinar. So either you go to mentimeter.com and you use that code, or maybe it's easier for you just to scan if you have a mobile phone, scan the QR code. And when you scan it, you should be able to go to the place, the online platform, and you can share with us your ideas. What would be benefits that can innovation procurement bring into big science organization sector? So please share your ideas with us. Let me know if it works. I give some seconds for you to think about it and share your ideas with us. And then we will look into some of your Okay, so here on the screen, you should be able to see all the inputs from the participants. Yeah, somebody put the code there, but we have uh, many answers. And so, how does this work? So, the word which comes most often will be the largest. So we already can start discussing what would be, according to you, the benefits that can innovation procurement bring into big science organization sector. Efficiency. So that can belong to the instruments of changing how we do the usual public procurement procedures. During one of our surveys, we find out that it's very important for, yeah, I think it was Fusion for Energy. So when we talk with them, they share that what they do also, what they see as an important part of changing the procurement, how we do it, is simplify the procedures. So the suppliers, it's not so troublesome for them to offer the bids to the public buyers. So that could belongs to that. The technology transfer. I think that comes with how we are also motivating innovative suppliers to take part in the public procurement procedures. It's involvement, and I see many other topics. Sustainability. That's something that we discussed a couple of weeks ago together with Maxim Titov when he presented the study of how future big science organization facilities should take also the sustainability into consideration. For example, just using different kind of cement, you can save the large amount of CO2. And then we discuss also how this sustainability requirements can be transferred then to the public procurement tenders and procedures, and how it is important that we as public procurement officials know how to evaluate those sustainability criteria. What I see here is also the collaboration. So that's one of the topics I like uh, for or in the European projects is this collaboration and sharing the examples of good practices, but also the pitfalls that should be avoided. And this is one of the topics that we, or the methods, how we are going to deliver our trainings. We are going to share examples of good practices, obviously from the big science organizations that already took part or tried the innovation procurement procedures, like innovation partnership or pre-commercial procurement. But we will share also examples from other sectors. For example, the civil security sector within the Horizon Europe Cluster 3, they have a dedicated calls just focusing on promoting the pre-commercial procurement. So that can be something also, I think, very interesting. Thank you very much for your inputs. We will then share also some of the results with you as the participants today. Coming back to the presentation, I will give a short overview, really short, just to set up the base of those instruments, of those that I talk about. So what is pre-commercial procurement? We usually use the abbreviation PCP. PCP is a specific approach to procuring R&D services. It involves competitive development in phases and a clear separation between the PCP and the procurement, so potential follow-up. R&D or the PCP process is split into phases, three phases. The first phase is a solution design, where the suppliers uh, are working on the solution design. Then some of those, based on the evaluation, continue to the second phase, where do they develop the prototype. It's the original development of the prototype. And then again, based on the evaluation that you state, obviously, in the beginning of public procurement procedure, based on evaluation, the most successful ones continue into third phase, which is then validation and testing of limited set of first procedures. We call it also operational testing. Very typical sign of the PCP is that the number of competing R&D providers are being reduced after each R&D phase. So it's really this is the sign of competitiveness or competition. Sorry. Um, for the public procurement officials, I think this is a very important key message also that this procedure, the pre-commercial procurement, is exempted from the public procurement rules. Why is that? It is because in the end, IPR, so intellectual property rights, are kept by the participating R&D providers, while the public procurers or the procurers keep license-free rights to use in or use the developed solution. So what I said in the beginning, the PCP process is a way how we actually finance R&D of suppliers, but the sign or what is very important there is that's demand driven. So basically, in the beginning of PCP, the public procurer or several public procurers can come together, identifying common needs that cannot be addressed by existing technology on the market, and they then start the tender saying to the suppliers, this is our unmet need. We believe it cannot be addressed by existing technology on the market. Please present your offers, how you would like to solve uh, our unmet need, and then those who qualify then goes to the first phase and what I mentioned in the beginning. And this is very typical graph how the PCP pre-commercial procurement is illustrated. So you have this first phase where you discuss what is the unmet need. You do the open market consultation, which is the way how we communicate with the suppliers. And then if you really find out that your unmet need cannot be addressed by existing technology, then you move to the phase one, or you start the procedure and then you move through the phases. The PCP ends in a phase three, and then in a phase four, you have the public procurement of innovative solutions, which is then the basically the normal tender done according to the directive on public procurement or the national law, where you can buy the commercial volumes of end products. As I mentioned, after the pre-commercial procurement, there is a possibility of having the PPI, public procurement of innovative solutions, to purchase a commercial solution for the same challenge that was addressed through the PCP. The PPI must be conducted in compliance with the public procurement legal framework. As I mentioned, rules stated in a directive on public procurement or most commonly the national law. And then the contracting authorities act as a launch customer of innovative goods or services. Here are several examples from several sectors. So it's my background is in civil security sector, so most of those projects we did in the civil security sector. For example, Shield for Crowd was the project where we identified needs of a public buyers, mostly the ministries of interiors and police, when it comes to protection of public spaces. And that was the preparation project, the CSA project. And right now we are starting the follow-up to the Shield for Crowd, which is Shield PCP, which is the real pre-commercial procurement. The Protect project comes from the cluster 6, is the project that looked into how the Earth observation could help us to mitigate the climate change using their observation and the services that are provided by Copernicus. And again, very happy that we had the following of Protect in a pre-commercial procurement project, which is right now running, which is called PCP WISE. In the phase 3, or the projects under the phase 3, you can see also the project called Archiver. And very interestingly, this project was run by CERN. So we have the example also from big science sector. Okay. We could talk and we will talk about some examples from other sector also later on during the Jorge presentation. Innovative partnership. This is the procedure that is directly mentioned in a directive on public procurement. So it follows the public procurement rules opposite to the PCP. The innovation partnership is a procedure that allows for the combination of research, innovation, and procurement. The process should be conducted in 3 phases. So in the PCP, you are financing basically the R&D of suppliers, so the suppliers can develop the solutions that right now don't exist on the market and that can help you solve your unmet needs. But in the end of the PCP, you are not the owner of such solutions. You can use free licenses depending on how you stated in the tender documents and tender contract. With innovation partnership, this is, let's say, more complex. You do also R&D, you finance the R&D, but in the end, you also the part of it is also the procurement of end solution or the goods. So that's a definition of innovation partnership, and here it's illustration of 3 phases and all the steps that are needed there. And we will not go into more details because we will have a specialized module on innovation partnership. So if you will be interested, or are you interested now in the innovation partnership, you keep with us on our learning journey, and next year we will have a specialized module on innovation partnership. I think what is very nice is to compare the procedures, and we are going to have that also in our modules, and we will develop that comparing the procedures. So innovation partnership versus PCP. When to use the PCP, when to use the innovation partnership. One definition can be that for the PCP, the need for the solution is not so unique or specialized that it has to be developed exclusively for that specific public buyer, but instead there is a wide range of potential customers for the solution beyond the procurer. So then typically many providers would be interested to develop the solution because then they can commercialize it and sell it for the wider market. With innovation partnership, that's suitable for the situation when the procurer needs a product or service that is unique, specialized, that usually the 1, 2, or 3 procurers is only the potential customers for the solution, and there are no other potential providers on the market outside of the innovation partnership. And I think this is also one of the definition and the reason why the innovation partnership can be very valuable for the big science organizations. Is because some of those needs that your organizations have are so specialized and specific that actually it's relevant only for 1 or 2 big science organizations. Now again, some work for you. Again, go to Mentimeter. Um, you can again scan the code, or maybe you still have it open. Um, I think now I have to switch also up here. I will go to another slide. So please share with us what unmet needs, challenges could be tackled by PCP in big science organization sector. So, and this is for you if you listen carefully. PCP is suitable for the situation where the needs are common for more, more, let's say, end users, more big science organization facilities. In your opinion, what unmet needs challenges could be tackled by PCP? And I give to you a few seconds. So think and share it. So what I hear is poor data integration, uh, and I think that's a challenge that can be common to several big science facilities. Energy, again, and digital twins of BSO. So we have more answers. I will like this. So you are getting used to the Mentimeter, new materials and technologies for their processing. So that's I think very interesting topic for DTI and for Nikolai for advanced materials. Um, New tech and more sustainability prototype development for the future scale-up acquisitions and simpler process for innovation. Okay, thank you very much. Let's look really quickly into what does it mean preliminary market consultation. So the preliminary market consultation, this is a dialogue between the contracting authority and other entities, so economic operators or suppliers or independent experts aiming to obtain answers to how the contracting authority or public buyer problems can be solved. For example, in Slovakia, so I come from Slovakia, we have a quite good experience with preliminary market consultation. So this is a dialogue before you start the tender. So you have, let's say, again, unmet need. You have a challenge and you don't know how it can be addressed. And so we use it, for example, to find out how we can get rid of the some of the illegal and waste dumps. And so we asked the market what are the different solutions there, how we can ecologically uh, get let's say rid of the waste. So in Slovakia, it's quite often used. I know that also in France. Maybe Jorge can share some examples later on about that. And so, what are the reasons to conduct the preliminary market consultation? As I said, the public buyer does not know how it would be possible to ensure the realization of its unmet need. Uh, or you can use this technique, this instrument also to identify suitable suppliers on the market, obtain information about existing technology solutions, their prices, condition of performance, or just to promote innovation in the market because you will come with your challenge, with your need to the suppliers and ask, can you solve this challenge? And if yes, what is the best way? What is the state of the art? And I know that within the big science organizations, there are these these meetings of industry days, and I took part 2 weeks ago, I think, in Lund, Sweden, and that was very interesting because it reminds me of these preliminary market consultations. I think also within the big science organizations, there are the methods that already have the part of innovation procurement in itself. So when organizing the preliminary market consultation, what should be kept in mind is that the process must comply with the principles of equal treatment, non-discrimination, and transparency stated in the directive on public procurement. One example, there was a project called PPI for HPC, and there it was the public procurement of innovative solutions for high performance computing. Uh, I think the lead buyer was Julie from the Germany. So technical aspects, they see that it helped them to review common and lot specific requirements and improvement of definition and clarification of such requirements. For the legal and procedure aspect, uh, it helped them with the conflict of law during the procurement procedure, because that was the example of joint cross-border public procurement, meaning several public buyers coming from different EU countries run the tender together, and also there are other aspects that it helped them. We have also a group of instruments, innovation procurement instruments, that can help promote innovation even during the procurement procedure. Functional specification. What does it mean? The public buyer sets a minimum requirement to avoid an abnormally low performing tender, but it's not overly prescriptive regarding the means of achieving a desired outcome. Functional requirements are far more innovation friendly. That's stated in the European Commission guidance on innovation procurement. This approach of using the functional specification was followed by 80% of the five European Commission funded innovation procurement projects. Um, so using this functional specification, which is not very easy thing, I have to admit, you try to shift the responsibility for achieving better results to the market. So you say to the market what you want to achieve, and you leave it up to the market. But then obviously for the public procurement officials, for us, it's much harder to evaluate than prescriptive requirements. Um, does this mean, using the functional specification, that there are more innovation friendly, that using of descriptive requirements is not suitable for attracting innovation? No. Even descriptive requirements may attract innovative solution, but this become easier to be achieved through the use of functional requirements that focus only on the description of the need, leaving the market free to come up through competition with solutions fit for the challenge in questions. One, I think, good example is from the concept. Concept is a central purchasing body in Italy, so it do the tenders for all the other public buyers, and in this example, Concept was buying the heating or cooling systems. Uh, so they were buying actually the temperature for its client. Specification included a temperature to be achieved inside the building, installation of electronic meters for constant monitoring of the indoor temperature, and assessment of the optimal consumption level for heating and energy services. And the outcome was that energy saved under the framework contract was 16 times higher than the minimum required. We will share with you through our online toolkit that is on our website also the recording and the presentation of the webinar. So you will be able to, if interested, go deeper into this example. Another innovation procurement instrument, the one I think will be used more and more often, we will see it more in the future, is value engineering. What does it mean? These are the activities and actions that can be used during the contract implementation. So after you already signed the contract, to improve or preserve the function of the innovative solutions while reducing the cost, and costs are very important, all right? So how you do that? You incentivize vendors to continue improving the quality cost ratio of their solution. How you do that? You split the benefit. So this is ideal where the maintenance is a significant part of the value of the contract. I think this can be again very valuable in big science organization sector. Savings should be split between the contracting authority and supplier. So obviously you have to state all of this information in the beginning of the tender and in the tender documents. Conditions stated in tender documents and contract should clearly define the condition for applying the value engineering, so contract modification. One example, this comes from the province of Limburg. The Limburg Water Company wanted to obtain a cheaper and more reliable IT system for managing water distribution across its network. What was done differently? They included value engineering clauses to encourage vendors to increase the quality and lower the cost of the delivered solution. So what was the approach? The approach was that the amount of servers and corresponding maintenance cost was reduced from 50 to 4. And also that means the saving of the energy and the cost. And then the savings were split between the public buyer and the supplier. So really, if you have, for example, 4-year contract where also part is the maintenance, and if you stipulate in the beginning of the tender procedure that there will be also value engineering clauses, then this is one way how you can save the cost. But most importantly, motivate the supplier. Um, then we have the public procurement procedure. So the procedures that you have already in a public procurement law that can promote the innovation. One is competitive procedure with negotiation. The competitive procedure with negotiation offers public buyers more flexibility in awarding contracts where ready-made solutions are not available on the market. Again, I think very relevant for big science organization sector. In this competitive procedure with negotiation, the transparent and documented negotiation may enable public buyers to negotiate adaptation of existing elements for the development of innovative solutions that will meet the needs described in the technical specification. And it opens a direct dialogue on specific characteristics of the solutions to be developed. Then we have a second procedure. It's called the competitive dialogue. The innovation potential of this procedure consists in the wide range of solutions that can participants they can propose. Um, After the verification of the selection criteria, so you get the offers, you verificate the selection criteria, then the buyer initiate dialogue. The negotiations with the suppliers take place individually with each candidate, ensuring confidentiality of each solution. So this is a difference between the competitive dialogue and previous procedure. In the final stage, the remaining participants are requested to submit the final tenders. What is the difference between two? Again, what I said in the beginning, we will provide you during our trainings these comparisons of different instruments. Competitive dialogue. A contracting authority shall not reveal to other participants solutions proposed by a tender participating in a dialogue without its agreement. In competitive procedure with negotiation, the economic operators are asked in the final phase to present final tender based on the changed technical specification, and all participants have the same knowledge about the final technical description. When it is useful, you use competitive procedure with negotiation when the public buyer knows that the two-way tunnel has to be built under the riverbed as a public works contract financed from its own budget. And the negotiations will focus only on the technical aspects of the works, including price and quality consideration. If you take the competitive dialogue, this is to determine whether a bridge or a one or two-way tunnel on or under the riverbed should be built as a public work contract or work concession, and whether it should be financed with its own funds or with external sources of funding. And we have one example from Copenhagen. Uh, they use the competitive dialogue to achieve a target of reduction of the energy consumption from street lighting. Uh, what was done differently? The contracting authority, the public bar here opted for a competitive dialogue procedure. The evaluation criteria was not only the lowest price, but price was 25%, task performance and organization was 25%, lighting solution was 20%, and energy and environmental qualities 30%. With the change to LED lamps, LED lamps, the energy consumption has been reduced by 57%, saving 1.6 million annually. So, again, I ask for your involvement. Uh, what procedure allows you to procure R&D and the final product in one? So this is this is the question if you listen carefully. And let's look into answers here. And we have answers, and the correct answer was innovation partnership. So thank you very much. Congratulations to those who voted, but also to all who participate. And if you want to be more proficient, you should follow us more. We have also quiz. So basically, who answered correctly and who was the first to provide the correct answer was the fastest, and we have Mars. So my final remarks to the public procurement instruments. We presented and we will train you more on several procurement instruments that can promote innovation. Um, so there are already several instruments that you can use. Sometimes there is obviously the frustration of end users that public procurement takes too long, that it's obstacle to innovation, and we see that also in other sectors. My suggestion would be that you need to explain that to the end users as soon as possible. So explain this procurement innovation procurement instruments as soon as possible. I believe it's also very vital to the success of innovation procurement that the end users are involved in these procurement instruments, but it works also the opposite way. So I believe that public procurement experts, the colleagues from your public procurement department should be involved in your, let's say, major R&D activities as soon as possible, because then they can really in the beginning say to you, okay, we can address these need, these unmet need using this instrument. And they're already prepared for the future. It's not like that you come, let's say that I need this specific instrument and you have 1 month for that, and then it's almost impossible. And then it happens that, and I know it from my own experience, that we at the public procurement departments are the worst. We are used to that, but it's not a very pleasant thing. So thank you for that. This is for now all from my side. Now we will hear from Jorge Garson from now OECD. He will introduce himself. I just want to say that we worked together before on several civil security innovation procurement projects when he worked on French Ministry of Interior. So, Jorge, I'm very glad that you find the time in your agenda to share with us how you see innovation procurement, and maybe also share with us what you do at OECD, and if you are talking also about the innovation procurement. You can share your presentation.
Thank you very much, Joseph. I hope you can see my screen now. Just let me check this first. Is it good?
Not yet.
Okay. What about now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
You can see it.
Thank
We
you
can
very
see it.
much.
We don't see it in the presentation mode, so
Oh, okay. Just let me. How about now?
yes.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Joseph, and thank you all for organizing this very insightful webinar. I am very pleased to meet some of my old colleagues, and I really had a great chance to work with some of you guys, especially with you, Joseph, in other innovation procurement initiatives where I was working before. So I would like to give you some insights on the OECD's innovation procurement framework and how the organization is dealing on a daily basis on these very crucial matters. So I would like to start by introducing myself. My name is Jorge Garzon, and just to give you some background, I was previously working at the French Ministry of Interior, where I had the chance to be in charge of strategy and procurement performance for the whole organization. And I also had the opportunity to take part in several European projects financed by the European Commission, where we discuss actually these specific topics on innovation procurement and how at the end we get the best value for money for our public administration. So it was a very busy and interesting journey. We learned a lot, and we were hoping to continue this work. Now I'm at a different place, and I am very excited to share with you today how an international organization such as the OECD is dealing with the same kind of challenges in terms of the way we procure what is required for the whole organization. So first, I will introduce you to the organization, just to give you a general overview for origins in the global reach. For second, I will present to you the procurement framework structure and the process overview. We have some differences between the way we do public procurement on a daily basis compared to another international organizations such as United Nations or maybe the European Commission, for example. And also you will see that we have a streamlined process, even though we need to identify at every step of the process how we can reach to the point of having the best answer to the needs. And then I will finish my presentation by giving you some of the ideas that we are developing at the OECD on how we can reach through procurement innovation, what are the challenges, and how the organization is evolving into this environment to provide, again, the best value for money in this general goal of the OECD of creating better policies for better lives. So what is the OECD? The OECD is the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, an international organization in which governments work together to find solutions to common challenges, develop global standards, share experiences, and identify best practices to promote better policies for better lives. It all started in 1948, where we first created the European Economic Cooperation Organization, the OEEC. That was for basically to administer the American and Canadian aid for the Marshall Plan for the reconstruction of Europe after the World War II, with the general objective to work together to decide how to allocate and prioritize resources. The picture that you can see there is the room where the Council of the OECD takes place on a yearly basis. The room is still, as you can see it there, so it's a very historical promises that you can see here. And then in 1960, 14 December of 1960, the convention transforming the OECC into the OECD was signed and enters in force in 1961. The Article 1 of the convention basically aims to promote policies designed to achieving the highest sustainable economic growth and employment and a rising standard of living in member countries while maintaining financial stability and thus to contribute to the development of the world economy. Also, the aim of the OECD and its members is to contribute to sound economic expansion in member as well as non-member countries in the process of economic development. A very quick glimpse on the global reach of the OECD. So today we count 38 member countries and 5 key partners that represent about 80% of the world trade and investment, with the most recent accessions from 2000 with the Slovak Republic until 2020 and 2029 with the last two, Colombia and Costa Rica. So I'm very proud to say that not only I become a staff for the OECD, but I'm also representing my country, Colombia, and also France, as I became French some years ago. So it's a really interesting environment in which you will find how different countries work together to again create better policies for better lives. Some quick numbers on the OECD. So as I mentioned, 38 member countries, and we work with more than 100 economies. 80% of the world trade and investment are represented by these 38 member states. We organize 4,000 conferences per year. This is very relevant when it comes to procurement, and I will get back to that later on my presentation. 5 billion data points, 500 major reports per year. This is also some of the most important outcomes of the OECD, the reports and guidance that the OECD provides in many different fields, and more than 450 international standards that we have already developed. So going to the center of this discussion, and again, I really thank the organizers to have required the OECD to take part of this. We are convinced that not only we contribute to define and provide some guidance on how to do public procurement for the member states, but we are also learning from this experience within the organization to having the best value for money and, at the end, having the best results and keeping the standards of the organization. So as in any other organization, we have this financial framework. So the OECD procurement is regulated by the financial regulations. It is the main text of regulation, managing not only the principles of finance, but also procurement, HR, and other aspects of the functioning of the organization. Then we have the financial instructions that provides the operational guidance on how these regulations are applied within the organization. In this document, you will find, for example, how the procurement board is organized, who the members are, and how they meet on a regular basis. Basically, we have a procurement board meeting once a month. And then we have other documents that refer to the financial procedures, and they provide detailed practical guidance at the process level, including key control factors, and these are defined by the executive director. Just one thing before I move on, these 3 layers outline how the responsibilities are shared and implemented throughout all the directorates from the organization. It is a completely different way of um, engaging the responsibility of those who are working for the OECD and providing, again, the best accountability and compliance with the financial regulations. So as you may know, any international organization abides by its own rules, with some specificities also in terms of legal contracts and also negotiation that we organize with different suppliers. This is also one of the challenges that we can introduce when we are dealing with public procurement. But I will get back to that later. So the scope of the OECD's procurement framework, as any other public or international organization, the acquisition by the organization from third parties of all goods and services that are necessary for its functioning or for the implementation of the program of work, the program of work. It's what states and defines the missions of the OECD and also the contributions from every member state. So it's our roadmap, if you might, so we can have a perspective on the outcomes that are expected from the organization. So again, to achieve the outputs and optimize the use of resources and again, maximize transparency, we have very clear and streamlined policies on transparency, ethics, and accountability during the whole process, from the identification of the need until the signature of a contract. So the procurement framework applies to all directorates, agencies, and hosted entities. These are some other affiliate entities that we have at the OECD. I can refer to this because it's a very well-organized way for the procurement processes. That means that we have a collaborative way of working and identifying the needs for all of us. The idea here is to have a central procurement body. In our case, it is called the Corporate Procurement Group. The Corporate Procurement Group makes sure that not only all directorates are covered by the contracts in place, but also the affiliated entities and sometimes some hosted entities during a permanent or a temporary time. And this is really relevant when it comes to providing the best results in terms of procurement. Several controls take place throughout the whole procurement process, again, to ensure compliance with the procurement framework and minimize risk. The minimization of the risks, it's always present from stage 0 of the process until the signature of the contract. As we have, in the case of the OECD, different ways of, how can I say this, identifying risks that maybe other organizations don't. One of them, just to, but I think you may understood that, is the reputational risk that the OECD and everything that the OECD provides has to abide by the standards and the regulations in order to, keep the reputation and the image of the organization. Here is a very general overview of the whole procurement process. As in any procurement process, we have the pre-tendering phase. And I know from my past experience that we had what Joseph just introduced to us, the preliminary market consultation. That is one of the best practices. When you engage with the market and now try to identify if we have a solution out there, or if we need to start an innovative process in order to have, just to foster innovation in the whole market until we sign the contract. In the case of the OECD's procurement framework, we have the pre-tendering phase, and I have to say we have a more flexible and simplified way of engaging with the market. Again, all of this has to be within the framework of the financial instructions. So the guidance is very clear on how we need to approach the market. and work with them before actually moving onto the competitive process. So just to give you some examples, we are making big steps on the implementation of AI for the organization. So we have created a framework that ensures that we are opening to the market, even though we are not buying something at the end of the day, but we're engaging with the market, with conversation, getting to know what are the requirements internally and how we can work with the most important players in terms of AI. So it's really relevant to know that this part of the process that you know very well, it's one of the most important when preparing a procurement process, is more flexible. And I think this is something that changed in my personal experience from what I knew in the past. So it's really interesting. In this pre-tendering phase, we of course go through the basic activities of planning and budgeting, with the identification of the needs, sourcing options, drafting statements of work. So we need to start from this stage to prepare all the contractual documents, because it takes a bit longer, and I will explain you why. And then we have the market research, of course, and some internal checks, again, to make sure that we are compliant with the financial regulations. And one of the most important things that we check if we already have some existing framework contracts. I will focus on the use of framework contracts as a tool for getting innovative solutions as well. And we also check if similar needs on the procurement planning have been identified by other directorates. In the case of the OECD, we have what we called the coordinated procurement activities that we conduct with other international organizations such as UNESCO or the United Nations. And so we get in touch with our colleagues from procurement teams, and we can benefit from a previous competitive process held, for example, by UN. And we go under a second round of competition, and we can go and sign a contract with the suppliers that had already been regularly awarded through a competitive process. So it's a really interesting way of collaborating and keeping track of the same standards in terms of the solution we want to procure and also the results. In some specific cases, as in any other organization, we have to go under a derogation if we have specific requests. These specific requests are very restricted. So we have two different cases. Either we have a sole supplier situation, which means it's the only supplier that can provide the solution that we are looking for. This could be also interesting when doing public procurement of innovation, in the sense that if we know that we have a supplier that is the only one that is exclusively producing a solution or a kind of technology, so we can go under what we call the derogation process. So it's a request that is submitted to the procurement board, and it goes through different internal checks, and then we can have this derogation granted by the procurement board, and then maybe if the market evolves in the following years, it will go through the competitive process on an open competition. I won't go through the details on the competitive process. As you know, we have the classic steps, I would say, of identifying the type of procurement. Are we going to a market consultation or a call for tender or a direct contract? We start with all the different steps of the tender evaluation, the constitution of the panel, the shortlisting procedures, and so on and so forth. And then we get to the final phase of the contractualization. As I was mentioning, we go under the procurement board's opinion. The procurement board is composed by members from different directorates from the organization that can give a different opinion on the whole process. This is also really interesting because it's not specifically people who are involved into the procurement process. They are not specifically procurement experts, but they can have a critical opinion on the whole process and the provider that we have already chose or proposed to the opinion of the procurement board. Then we go through the legal review of the contract that we have started. If you listen carefully from the beginning, in the pre-tendering phase, we had a draft of the contract that we will check with the legal team from the organization, the supplier, and the procurement officer who is in charge of the procedure. And then we get to the signature. So the process, as you can see it here, it has maybe less steps than a procurement process in another national or international organization. But it requires a lot of different checks in order to make sure that we are applying our internal regulations. And I think it's very transparent too. We do have this sharing of information from the beginning until the end of the process, and then we just move on to the suppliers. So in terms of innovation procurement, I have to say that I have been discovering many different ways in which we can reach the best value for money through innovation procurement. So the strategic framework of the organization as anchored in OECD's 2015 recommendation on public procurement, we applied those to us. Of course, it's transparency, integrity, efficiency, and stakeholder participation. I completely join previous advice on the participation of all the stakeholders since the early stages of any procurement process, as we need to get in touch with them. In my case, at the organization, I'm in charge of the procurement processes for two different services of the organization. From one side is the service that is dealing with the conference security and infrastructure of the organization, and from the other side is the digital and knowledge information for the organization. So the fact that I belong to these two operational services in what we call a shared service unit allows us, myself, including my colleagues from my team, to be very in touch with the operational and the project managers. This is really relevant when we are doing innovation procurement, as we actually know what the machine, just to give you an example, if the machine we need to replace, what's the use of this, how can we improve it, and what are the main concerns of our procurement project managers, who are our colleagues as well. So it's really interesting to know that we are part of this service that is operational, but also we are dealing with the procurement process. Innovation procurement, of course, is a lever for sustainability, resilience, and transformation. This is very well known. When you engage to the market and identify the new technologies and the new ways of responding to the needs, you get these three elements: sustainability, resilience, and transformation. In the procurement process, we have a very important step on planning and budgeting, because we, of course, need to make sure that all member states know the process beforehand, and that we have this planning and budgeting process all the way. So the idea is to focus on cost-effective and sustainable procurement in the long run with realistic budget that provides the best value for money, including the drafting of the requirements. Again, the most critical step when doing public procurement, the best and most effective assessment of the needs, taking into account the total cost of ownership, just to give an example. Of course, the budget availability and the best use of the resources. The value estimation, as in any other procurement process, we need to base the calculation of the value contract based on prior experience, similar contracts, forecasts, or market research, and I would say also some benchmark activities that we conduct with other entities. Timing and method. We define the initial value when creating the terms of reference or statement of works in case of IT or works. We do allotment, of course, mutualizing different needs into competitive processes as relevant as they might be, and dividing the needs into different lots, of course, can foster competition among the bidders. And when it comes to reoccurring needs, launching a competitive process or user framework contract when possible. And I will focus very quickly on the user framework contracts. The OECD just launched a month ago, and we extended the submission of the bids. We launched a call for tenders for a framework contract on digital competences. I can refer to this example because it's already published by the OECD. And the idea is to have in one framework contract a list of identified suppliers for all digital competences for the organization, either architecturing, designing, IT implementation, training. Is a lot of competencies that were included into one framework contract. We had a lot of success. I'm not bragging about this, but it was a really huge work done by all the stakeholders in the organization. And we just came up with, it was 2 days ago, we just came up with the offers from the bidders for these golf tenders, and they got really, really interesting and really into what was expected from our perspective. In this case, I'm referring to an innovative way of doing procurement, and the outcome of the call tenders will be also innovative. It is very flexible, and at the end of the day, we are going to combine this method of doing public procurement through a competitive process for signing a framework contract, and also working at the same time for a marketplace in which basically any directorate or service from the OECD can ask for a specific digital competency through the marketplace, and he or she will find an answer from this framework contract. So it means it simplifies the way we ask for a need, and also reassuring that we have already applied a competitive process and also in compliance with the regulations. So these framework contracts is a very good way of simplifying the whole process. It takes maybe longer to set it up, as you need to set up a strategy and make sure that you have, of course, integrated into the framework contract all that is required. But at the end of the day, the outcome is really interesting and very relevant to raise awareness on innovative solutions from the market. Just to finish, some key success factors that the OECD recommends and applies also for its internal procurement process. Political will and effective risk governance. So we need to have this push from our internal governance. In our case, we have this challenge from member states that are proposing different ways of approaching the market, new suppliers and new innovators all over the world. Skilled and empowered procurement teams. This is exactly what you are doing right here. Having this kind of trainings will help you be more skilled, of course, in doing your job on a daily basis. Early and sustained stakeholder engagement. Again, stakeholder engagement should be the first step, and we should make sure that they will be there in the whole process. Simplified procedures and functional specifications. Of course, when it comes to functional specification, is challenging the market and telling them what your expectations are in terms of functions, not specific requirements as we tend to do in other type of procurement procedures. And finally, professionalization of procurement roles. Again, this is very linked to your activities and to these insightful trainings that you are providing today, how we can improve our knowledge, and I would say, how can we introduce in our procurement roles the evolution of the market, the new trends. I am very glad to say that from my previous experience with the European Commission and from national ministry in France, I am also giving my feedback on how to improve some of the internal procedures, as we are all into this inspirational work, if I may say, on how to get the best results for our clients. Thank you very much. I will be very happy to take any questions if you have, and I invite you to know more about the OECD on the website. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Jorge. I think it was very interesting. There are some questions. We will answer them at the end. I think what is very relevant here and why your presentation is so to the point to the big science organization, because as you said, OECD is international body. You are following not European directive on public procurement, you are following your own rules, and this is the example and the situation is also with other BSO organizations. So I think the inspiration that can be taken from you, but also I think if we continue this dialogue with OECD, some of the findings that we have within the INPROCAP project can be shared with OECD and collaboratively work on improving one or other institutions' procurement rules. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure. And now let's dive deeper into upcoming trainings that we have for you. But before that, I would like to have a short conversation with one of the public procurement experts. Peggy Wu, she is a part of INPROCAP project, but she's working also as public procurement manager at Dexfel. So, Peggy, short introduction. Can you say something about you?
Thank you, Joseph. Good morning, everyone. My name is Peggy Wu, and I'm a procurement officer at European XFEL. It's truly a pleasure to be here with you all today. So European XFEL, where I have had the privilege of working for nearly 10 years. I'm a certified public procurement law manager with expertise in public procurement rules and regulations. In addition to my background, I hold a EMBA and have experience in ISO auditing and writing manuals and instructions. So it is an honor to be appointed by XFEL as the Innovation Procurement Manager for INPROCAP project. In this project, I collaborate with a group of experts to establish a sustainable advisory platform to help to standardize innovation procurement practice across big science organizations. Of course, the goal is to drive innovation, strengthen procurement capabilities, and foster an impactful collaboration between research and industry.
So thank you. I really like the title of Innovation Procurement Manager. Combining the innovation and procurement together, I think that's something that defines also INPROCAP. As an innovation procurement manager role, as well as the part of the procurement team, what does it mean?
With this new role at European XFEL, I'm actively involved in reviewing and analyzing purchase requests and also the procurement plans, carefully assessing whether innovation procurement procedures may apply. So I work closely with the colleagues from our ILO, the office in charge of market analysis and pre-procurement activities, and also they engage with the scientists to determine if the required solutions exist in the market or whether the innovative approach are necessary. So whenever we identify the opportunities for innovation procurement, I then need and offer guidance to ensure proper justification is in place. And I also proactively share relevant case studies with my team to promote the best practice and continue learning in innovation procurement.
And I think what you mentioned here, this collaboration with our end users, us as public procurement officials, is so important that that we know how to collaborate with our end users at your side with the scientists. So it's not always the easy job, but somebody have to do it. Tell me, why is innovation procurement so critical at the European XFEL?
So our scientific infrastructure depends on cutting-edge technologies, many of which either don't exist yet or need to be custom developed to meet our unique needs and requirements. So innovation procurement enabled us, XFEL, to access high technology, non-standard solutions by involving the suppliers in R&D or co-developing bespoke technologies. And also accelerate technological advancement through early industrial engagement, helping us stay at the forefront of science. and also support complex and ongoing developments that require continuous innovation and tailor-made technical solutions.
Okay. Are there any examples can you share with us, or the cases for innovation procurement?
We are currently analyzing 2 cases at European Expo, where the innovation partnership mechanism is particularly well suited for the cases. So I can share the cases. First cases is like with high R&D costs compared to the product cost. So in this case, the research phase costs significantly more than the final product's value. And the traditional procurement isn't economically viable. Innovation partnership then allow us to share the risk with the industry partners and develop the breakthrough technologies while ensuring economical and technical feasibility. So this approach helps shift our procurement mindset from cost-based to value-based, focusing on outcome and the impact, and not just the price. So the second case that I can share is involve an precedented technical requirements. For this case, the required solution is not yet available in the market, and only a limited of suppliers can partially meet the challenge. So we use innovation partnership, offer a structure and competitive framework for developing the required technologies. Even if just one consortium meets the needs, the process then foster the market engagement and readiness, stimulate the technology development, which encourage the development of a more competitive and capable supply base.
Okay, thank you. Maybe I will ask now, skip some things. So we talk about the innovation procurement. What is your role? What are the cases? But what do you expect from taking part of INPROCAP, taking part of a training program?
This is a very interesting program. I'm eager to explore more in depth on several topics like how to effectively integrate market analysis in innovation procurement. And the other topic is how to manage intellectual property rights in this process. So this program doesn't just explain the theory, it provides practical tools, criteria to apply the right procedures in the real world cases. Each training manual that Joseph is going to present is adapted to its audience, offering a clear workflow, practical flow charts, checklist, case studies, supporting materials. These cover the critical topics such as market analysis and intellectual property right management within the context of innovation procurement.
Okay, thank you. And we will address these topics in our upcoming webinars and trainings. And if you see yourself in, let's say, 1 year after the program finish, how you would like to promote and embed the innovation procurement into day-to-day practice at Exfel?
So at European Expo, we are proud to play a leading role in the INPROCAP project, helping shape new ways for research institutes to collaborate with industry. By acting as a lead customer, research organization can actively drive the development of technologies and services that are not yet available in the market. So my mission is not only understand the concept of innovation procurement procedures, but also to bring them to life through a practical application at European Expo. So I aim to share and transfer this knowledge to my colleague and helping to build a long-term sustainability for the project within our organization. So also by promoting the innovation procurement, we create opportunities to develop the next generation tools and prototypes for research, gain access to industrial R&D aligned with our technical needs, and support the transformation idea from our scientists and engineers from lab concept to industrial grade solutions. And I think additionally, in the near future, I'm eager to share real-world case studies and practical insights on implementing innovation procurement procedures in one of our upcoming training, probably highlight key takeouts and lessons learned from that.
Yes, thank you very much, and I think it will be very valuable for our participants that sharing of your examples of your day-to-day, let's say, also the troubles and how the training, but also innovation procurement can tackle some of those challenges in the procurement. So thank you very much for taking
Thank
part
you.
and be valuable member of our consortium, and looking forward to work with you. There were several questions, Peggy, several things that you addressed, and I think we can address them by sharing some brief information about the training manuals and trainings that are coming. So really, what does it mean? So when we speak at the training manuals within the INPROCAP project, we prepare three specific manuals for ILOs, for the companies, and for BSO. This year, in August 2025, we send it to the European Commission as a deliverable, the first version. So these training manuals, what is the aim of the trainings, but also the manual? So first of all, aim of the trainings that we would like to achieve, and these aims are mentioned in the training manuals, is a specific for BSO, for ILOs, and for the companies. For the BSO, what we want to do is that build practical innovation procurement capabilities to enable BSO to run advanced procedures confidently, to provide ready-to-use tools for the real projects. I will speak at the end about the ready-use tools, to foster collaboration, enhance market intelligence, enhance legal and compliance knowledge, because this is very important for the public procurement experts and those who are running the tender itself. So for the ILOs, the goals and the aims are slightly, obviously some of those are same, but some are a little bit different. For the ILOs, it's not so important, we find out, to know the details of every procurement procedure and know all the legal things. For them, it's more important about understanding what is it behind the innovation procurement and what the benefits of innovative procurement can bring to BSO sector. Also to showcase the real life examples, either from the BSO facilities, or also bring the experience from other sectors, because that's something that we said in INPROCAP that we will do. And then, very importantly, to develop specialized advisory skills among ILOs to effectively support innovation procurement processes. So, objective of these first training manuals, because these are the first versions, is to describe how we want to achieve all these goals. So the training manuals describe the methodology, the webinars, the modules that we will deliver, but they don't contain the details, the content for each of the modules that will be shown to you during the trainings and during the modules, how they will continue. And bringing all the experience that we will learn through this learning journey, we will incorporate that into training manuals in the final versions that will be presented at the BSBF 2026 next year. To identify what are the needs of stakeholders in our project, so BSOs, public procurement experts, the ILOs, but also the companies, we firstly identified what are their roles, what are the responsibilities, success metrics, what should then we focus our trainings on, what are their perspectives. So I will not go here into details, but for the BSOs, as I mentioned, the procurement execution and legal compliance is utmost importance. For the ILOs, it's industry liaison and supplier identification. For the companies, obviously, that's a business development and commercial success. And taking that, we then define what should we focus on during the trainings. For the ILOs, it would be conceptual understanding, so broad overview of innovation procurement concepts and benefits, supplier ecosystem, deep understanding of supplier landscapes, communication skills, market analysis. For the BSO procurement experts, we are going to focus, and they are going to focus because that's in their work definition, procedural mastery, so detailed knowledge of the specific procurement procedures and then implementation, legal framework, comprehensive understanding of EU procurement law, or in general innovation procurement law, technical specification, how to evaluate. What I would like to mention here is that we really welcome also companies taking part in our trainings. The trainings, the webinars, are going to be, some of them may be more useful for ILOs. Some of them are going to be more useful for the BSO procurement experts. And for companies, some of the modules will be more interesting, more useful than others. So each group of stakeholders will find themselves in our training. So I will not go into much details how we chose the modules, but it's based on really the work, intensive work that we started last year, and share several surveys about what should be the content of the training and modules. Our training modules was co-created. So how the BSO organizations that we did surveys and interview with, and mostly our colleagues from UXFL, feedback shaped the module. So as I said, we ran several online consultations, survey. Then we had this year the workshop where we identify key challenges, but also key changes when it comes to what is the real need of procurement experts at the BSO facility. So there we discussed that they need the practical tools. They need the practical tools for their work, so they need the templates, workflows, and we will provide that also, and I will show you at the end how we want to achieve. So based on all the inputs that we collected through the online surveys and the interviews, we defined 10 basic modules. Based on how we will deliver these modules, it might come up that we need, for example, one specific module that will combine all the procurement procedures, because that, for example, might be more interesting for the ILOs to have a 2-hour session where we'll explain some basic details about each procedure. So they will get the basic understanding, but that will be communicated later on. So right now, we are in the beginning. We provided general introduction to innovation procurement. We will then this year have another webinar on needs assessment, analysis of unmet needs. There will be then in December at XFEL, there will be hybrid event about the market analysis in the context of innovation procurement. Next year, early next year in February, we will have a webinar on preliminary market consultation. Then we will have a specialized webinar and module on PCP and PPI, following by innovation partnership, methods and approaches for the procurement process to promote innovation, competitive dialogue, competitive procedure with negotiation, and obviously the management of intellectual property rights. So now again, coming back to you, which module are you most looking for? So please go back to the Mentimeter, use the QR code. Now here we have also the correct code. And please, if you can vote. Oh, yeah, we give some time for you to log back in and Menti code. Here you have also the code, and it's going on. I think we have a winner almost from the early beginning, and that's innovation partnership. I'm very glad that we have high expectations also on methods how to promote innovation, market analyze. That's important for I think the ILOs and the BSOs, PCP, PPI also very high. Um, this is obviously we will deliver all the trainings with the with the most effort, but obviously this is just also for you to see and what is the importance for you of the modules. Okay, we have 20 votes. I think we can move on. So we have still time to finish the presentation. So what is inside the manual? So I mentioned it briefly. In the manuals, we have a description of the modules, aims, what we want to achieve with the modules. We have the methodology, so step-by-step guide, evaluation of each of the module. We will have a pre-assessment and post-assessment for each of the modules in the form of survey. And then also there is mentioning of tools and formats that will be provided within these modules as the flowchart, checklist templates. We will provide you with a PowerPoint presentation, also short videos explaining the basic concepts for each of the module. There was a strong need from the public procurement experts on, let's say, having the flowchart. So here's just one example what we would like to have in our training modules, in our training manuals, something that you can use in the future if you, for example, would like to learn more about when to use the innovation partnership. So this is something that we are going to provide to you. So you basically start from the beginning. You have a public procurement need. You have to then discuss are the solutions available on the market? If yes, then you are using the standard procedure, for example, open or restrictive. If no or limited, then can need be clearly defined. If no, then you have to conduct the preliminary market consultation first. Then and you move on. So this is really just showing you the basics. Or the examples how such a flowchart will look like. And then diving a little bit deeper, if you then start the innovation partnership, then you have the overall innovation partnership process. So you identify innovation need, do you do market research, and then you justify innovation partnership, prepare tender documents, launch procurement procedure, evaluate proposals, and negotiate with selected partners. What is the delivery plan of webinars, but also the modules? So here you have an overview of the webinars that are coming. This year, we will have in the last week of November webinar on needs assessment, analysis of unmet needs. I think we invite and it's interesting for all stakeholders, also for the companies. On the 9th of December, as I mentioned, there will be hybrid training specialized for the BSO and ILOs at the XFL in Hamburg. We will dive deep into market analyze together with Andre from DTI in the context of innovation procurement. And we have a plan for the next year. What I would like to mention is here that all of you that registered for this first webinar will receive the invitation to join all our future webinars. I will later on speak also about if you are unable to attend the webinar and if you can then watch the recording and where. What will be the learning journey? So for each of the, let's say, later modules, we will have a pre and post assessment. During the webinars, we will share, do hands-on exercise, share examples of real procurement problems. And what I find also very important is that mostly the hybrid training or on-site session will provide also opportunity for you to network. Where to access all this information. So All the recordings will be available through our website. We have an online toolbox there. This toolbox will include all the information that will be provided, also let's say, the manuals and checklists and the flow charts. What are we finalizing right now is also having this online learning platform. So you will be able later on, and all of you will be noticed about that, to through our website access learning platform where you will have each of the module, and you will be able to watch the recordings, to work on the exercise, and answer also a short quiz. Why is that important? Because we offer certification. The purpose of this is that it's a proof that you acquired competence in innovation procurement built through the INPROCAP training pathway. This is available for all participants. We will have two certification tracks. One is the completion, certificate of completion, where you meet the base thresholds, but we will have also for those of you hard-working certificate with distinction, so top performance. There are some eligibility requirements, so there is a need to get the first certificate of completion, to attend at least 70% of the session live, or via recording with the verification quiz that will be available through our online toolkit and a learning platform. Uh, we are expecting next year also that you will work on one practical use case that will be aligned to your organization, and in the end we will have a final test. Here is some details about the certification, but we will share it also later on with you. Maybe about the practical use case submission, we don't expect something very long, because I know you are the time is a essence, but also it's very hard. So we expect to be 4 to 6 pages or slides. The content of the practical use case will be some basic unmet need and functional specification, market analyze, state of the art highlights. But that will be communicated later next year, and then we expect to have also final test. There will be 25-30 questions in the end. It will be a mix of scenario based and core concept, and as I said, there will be two recognition rules: completion, all base threshold met, and there will be also a possibility to have the distinction certificate if your attendance is higher than 90%, and you pass the use case or test with distinction. So before we go to the question, one last question for you: are you willing to put effort and obtain a certificate? So I'm really looking forward for this one, if this is something that would and is going to be interesting for you. So please, this is the final voting
Joseph,
for today.
I think the presentation is frozen now.
At which slide you are?
Delivery plan and access.
Okay. So we are. How is it now? Can you see the last slide?
No, just the same.
Okay. I will refresh, or anyway, I gave the presentation. It will be available also for you. We will send it to you. If you can go back to the Mentimeter.
Seems now Joseph's picture is also completely frozen.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think
Yeah, Joseph is frozen.
Oh,
Joseph,
okay.
there are questions also. Okay.
Now the Mentimeter image switched as well.
maybe we are waiting
Yeah.
a,
Now
a
that's
few
actually
seconds.
there is a new question on Mentimeter now, so you're welcome to go there.
Yeah, maybe he should forward this.
Yeah. We also have some questions. Yeah.
So, but now we are waiting for Joseph, but we have a few questions for Jorge.
Yeah, sure. Maybe if I can jump in, like I can provide some insights on these very relevant questions in the meantime. So I think one of the question is concerning the use of a framework contract to foster innovation. That is something that I presented during my introduction to the framework contracts. Yes, indeed, it's a really interesting question. I would say that this is the most adapted way for the OECD to reach to the market in an organized way. The legal negotiation of the contract for the OECD is quite different from other organizations, so we need to make sure that we have compliance with all the regulations. So I think it's the best way of having the panel of suppliers. And we also changed the way we were focusing more on use case only for second round competition within the framework contract. And now we have a new way of doing these use cases, but more attached to a specific competency in digital knowledge. We changed completely the strategy for this procurement process, and we are hoping to have challenges also coming from the suppliers in terms of technology. So it's not based on a specific type of technology. It's open to any kind of technology as long as it corresponds to what is expected in terms of competency. So it allows us in terms of procurement to have access quickly to these kind of suppliers as long as they have been admitted to take part of the framework contract. And then the second question was concerning how the OECD is communicating with the suppliers about our tendering processes. So we have the e-sourcing platform from the OECD. Maybe I can put it in the chat. And we are also very active in LinkedIn because it's also a nice way of reaching out not only European countries, but also from all the other member states. So I kindly invite you to follow the corporate procurement group of the OECD. Just type corporate procurement group from LinkedIn, and you will find all the last couple of tenders that have been published, and they will really address you to the e-sourcing platform of the OECD. I hope I answered to your questions.
Thank you. Yeah, Lucia, I think there's some more question to Jorge. Would you mind to? I think there's another question about AI, whether they will consider to use AI for the innovation procurement evaluation model.
Oh, okay, yeah. Thank you for that. Yes, the OECD is exploring how we can introduce AI. Maybe not in the first place to actually help us during the choice of the next suppliers, but also as a tool for dealing with all the data from that comes from the result of a couple tenders. Just to give you an example, whenever we have more than 20 or 30 bidders, we need to have a more performant way of getting the most important information related to what was expected from the full tender, but not actually using the AI to give an opinion on the technical response from a bidder. It's still very new. So we, at the same time, the OECD is working in parallel with a task force that was created on how to assess the use of AI, not only for OECD staff, but for all the members. So it's regulated now. We have an internal regulation for the use of AI. And we are exploring on how we can use AI to manage a big quantity of data in the procurement process. So again, not to help us, making the choice, but dealing with data, big amounts of data, we are planning to use AI.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Yeah, thank you. So now we had a small time. Can I ask you if you want to turn on your cameras and make a screenshot now? But only if you want. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you to all. Joseph has some technical issues. If you have any question or any ideas to the future webinars, so you can now discuss on it, or
Yeah. And we will also, I think we have to finish now because time is up. We will
Yes.
circulate the evaluation comment link. And then, we will be inviting you to the next webinars, and please feel free to invite your colleagues. And so this is a process and development that we've come to this stage, but it's all co-creation. We really intend to make something useful, applicable to the sectors and the systems that you all work in. So thank you very much for attending today, and look forward to seeing you live in Hamburg, perhaps, or and at some of the other big science events that will come. Thank you, everybody, and have a
thank you.
fantastic
Thank
weekend.
you very much.